Hello, everybody. It's BJ with Very Basic Bible. Let's do a very basic Bible topic. Let's go search for us a passage here. Let's do it at Bible Gateway. Here we go. We'll do Leviticus 19. Let's see what we come up with here. I think I know approximately idolatry forbidden. I was kind of thinking it was something like that. Various laws right there. Okay. Let's start at various laws. Just so we don't start, I don't know, the beginning of the chapter. That's no fun. All right. Now, when you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap to the very edges of your field, nor shall you gather the gleanings of your harvest. And you shall not glean from your, and you shall not glean your vineyard, or from your vineyard, or whatever, nor shall you glean the fallen grapes of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the needy and for the stranger. I am the Lord your God. This could be fun. Let's go look at this. Let's see. Gleaning. We mostly in the, let's see, Old Testament. Yep, Leviticus, only two. Figure there might be more, but maybe Judges. Let's see. Okay, 19, that's where we're at. 23, 22, of course, Leviticus repeats itself as always. Or gather the gleanings of your harvest. All right. But he said to them, what have I done now in comparison with you? Is the gleaning of the grapes of Ephraim not better than the vintage of Abiezer? What the heck is he talking about? Raise your hand if you think you know. Okay. Let's see. We'll hit up. Let's use a regular Bible gateway. Okay, we got Judges 8:2, full chapter. And then we got Leviticus 19. Let's go there. Oh, wait. We've already got it open, I guess. Well, here's another Bible gateway just for the heck of it. Hey, why not open, what was it, Judges 22? Leviticus. Was it 22? Let's see. Various rules for priests, flawless animals for sacrifice. Okay, I bet it's Leviticus 21. Regulations concerning priests. Let's go back and look. Back. Leviticus 23. I'm a dork. Okay. Oh, Law of Holy Days, Day of Atonement. All right, Control F, Gleanings. All right, Law of Holy Days. Okay, let's see. Speak to the sons of Israel and say to them, the Lord's appointed times, which you shall proclaim as holy convocations. Whatever convocations. Okay, for 6 days, work may be done, but on the seventh day, there is a Sabbath. Okay, we're going to keep going. These are the appointed times. The first month on the 14th day of the month at twilight is the Lord's Passover. Then on the 15th day of the same month, there's the Feast of Unleavened Bread. For 7 days, you shall eat unleavened bread. Let's see, on the seventh day, okay. Speak to say to them, okay, on the first, okay, I'm looking really fast with my eye. Okay, let's just read it. 15th day, 7th. For 7 days, you shall eat no unleavened bread. On the first day, you shall have a holy convocation. You shall not do any laborious work. But for 7 days, you shall present an offering by fire to the Lord. A lot of offerings. On the seventh day, the holy convocation, you shall not do any laborious work. Okay, so like a festival for like a week or two. All right, let's see. Speak to the sons of Israel. So, holy days. When you enter the land which I'm going to give you, and you gather its harvest, then you shall bring in the sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest. He shall wave the sheaf before the Lord for you to be accepted. On the day after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. Okay, you're going to come into the land. You're going to collect all the produce. You're going to take one sheaf, several different sheaves. One of them, give it to the priest. The priest will wave, like like a fan. I'm assuming that's so it's not burned up. The priests get to eat it because it's offered to God, and God gives it to the priests for their payment, basically. And the priests don't go out and buy and trade and barter. Now, on the day when you wave the sheaf, you shall offer one male lamb, a year old without defect, as a burnt offering to the Lord. So you don't burn the. Okay, let's see. It's grain offering, man. So you got a grain offering with the burnt lamb and with the sheaf, or the sheaf is the grain offering. Shall then be 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil. That's not a sheaf. Fine flour is not unless they take the sheaf and they wave it, and maybe wave means to break it down to fine powder. I don't think so. I think this is a grain offering with the burnt offering until this very day. Oh, and you want some wine too. Give some wine for that. Until you're brought in the offering of your God, you shall either eat bread nor roasted grain or new produce. What? Until this very day. Until you're brought in the offering of your God. Okay, so when you go into the land, don't eat no bread or produce. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Maybe it's between times of like when you enter the land and you give maybe that's it. When you enter the land. This is off of Gleanings. But we'll see how it relates to Gleanings. Maybe we won't go to Judges 8. Maybe we'll just stick with some of the agricultural stuff. Yeah. Maybe we can look at Judges 8 another time. We'll do that. Here we go. Until this very day, until you're brought in the offering of your God, you shall neither eat bread, nor roasted grain, nor new produce. I'm assuming when you enter the land which I'm going to give you, and you gather its harvest, then you shall bring in the sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest. When you enter the land and you gather its harvest, then you shall bring in the sheaf of first fruits of your harvest. So either A, when they first enter the land, first time they go into the land, they gather harvest. They bring the very first. So this is the first time they've been in the land before in the book of Numbers. They walked around in it. They were spying, walked around. They grabbed some grapes and brought them back to be like, hey, look how good stuff there is in this land. Grapes. To us, we're like, okay. To them, that was awesome. They lived in the middle of the stinking desert. They didn't run down to the supermarket and buy grapes. They're grapes, dude. Let's go. I mean, that's just how excited they were about stuff like grapes and grain and water. And a lot of places, not just, every once in a while you find springs of water, lots of water in the land they're going to. When you enter the land, which I'm going to give you, and gather its harvest, maybe that's the very first time they enter the land, and the very first harvest, they bring the sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest. So that would be the very first offering ever in the land. Ever. It's like the first of the first fruits. Now, before you do that, God's like, hey, until this very day, until you're brought in the offering of your God, don't eat bread, no roasted grain or new produce. Look, don't go eating stuff that's not for you. The first fruits is for who? God. Whenever you harvest, you're not going to eat bread, new roasted grain, new produce. Nope. The first fruit right up here, harvest to the priest. First fruit goes to the priest. Then you can eat it. That might be it. I mean, they'll have stuff that they've already harvested. They'll have provisions already given them by God. God's providing the manna. They got plenty of God providing quail when they walk through the desert, and they've got plenty of livestock. They probably have provisions of grain and wheat and such that they got when they found it. Maybe did they in the desert? I'm not sure. But they have some stuff. So God's not saying go hungry. But when you enter the land, the first fruits comes to God. It could be saying that. Or it could be saying, watch this. When you go into the land, you're going to gather the first harvest, then bring the first sheaf of your harvest to the priest. Now, right up here. No, that's not it. Go find it. Harvest. Let me show you. Let me show you. Do I know? Maybe. Maybe BJ did. Various laws. Okay, there's the one we were just reading, Leviticus 19. Gleanings, 23:10. Harvest 20. This is the one we started with, 19:9. This is the one we were just reading, 23, 23, 25. You shall not reap your harvest after growth. Hey, that's kind of like what the Genesis, Leviticus 19. You shall not reap your aftergrowth. You shall not gather your grapes of your untamed vines. That's kind of the same. The land shall have a sabbatical year. Oh, in Leviticus 19:9, it was for the poor. Leviticus 25:5, so the land shall have a rest, a sabbatical year. No work for a whole year. All right. I'm going to type in first fruits. Grain, is that a fruit? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. You wouldn't think so, but they called it first fruits. So also, you shall keep the feast. Okay, full chapter. Where is it at down here? 3 national feasts. 3 times a year you shall celebrate a feast for me to me. This is in Exodus while they're wandering through the desert. God's telling them 3 times a year you're going to do a feast. You shall keep the feast of unleavened bread. Sound familiar? 7 days you are to eat unleavened bread as I commanded you at the appointed time in the month of Abib, for in the month you came out of Egypt. Oh, in that month you came out of Egypt. Okay. And no one is to appear before me empty-handed. Don't go before God on the feast of unleavened bread empty-handed. It brings some offerings, you know. Somewhere in Leviticus and in Exodus, I bet it tells you what precise offerings to bring for the feast of unleavened bread. Also, you shall keep the feast of harvest of the first fruits of your labors from what you sow in the field. Also, the feast of the ingathering at the end of the year, when you're gathering the fruit of the labors from the field. So they had an early harvest, feast of first fruits. Then they had ingathering at the end of the year, when you're gathering the fruit of the labors from your field. All right, so your first fruits at the very beginning of the harvest, then the first fruits from the labors after you've been harvesting a lot. Because I'm pretty sure that during wintertime, no harvest is done. Pretty sure you started spring, stuff starts growing. Yay, we got our crops. Let's go out there, plant. Oh my, look at all this stuff. Here, wait. First fruits of your labors go to God. Well, then you're going over the summer. Stuff dries up probably, you know. But then in the fall, stuff starts growing again. And in the summer, sometimes we have rain, it starts growing again. By the time winter comes, nope, not good. So you have a feast of the ingathering at the end of the year, say at the end of the summertime. Bring your first fruits of that big ingathering. The ingathering to provide you over all of wintertime. All of that has got to last you for wintertime. First fruits to God. The first of the harvest of the ingathering to God. They have a festival with it. 3 times a year, all your males shall appear before the Lord God. Yeah, have a festival. Where is it at? First fruits. So right over here, Leviticus 19. Oh, it looked the same, didn't it? Boop, boop, there you go. Where is it at? Oh, 23. And then the harvest, then you shall bring the sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest to the priest. Okay, right here. Until this very day, until you have brought in the offering of your God, you shall neither eat. You shall eat neither bread, nor roasted grain, nor new produce. It does say a permanent statute throughout your generations in all your dwelling places. If they only follow this rule once, don't eat no bread, nor roasted grain, nor new produce. Until that very day, don't eat no bread, no new grain, no produce. If you're going to follow that throughout all your generations and all your dwelling places, that would be kind of strange to say if it's only for when you very first go into the land. You repeated, you done it once. Yay. You did what God told you to do through all generations, all your dwelling places. Yay, it's done because you did it once. I'm assuming then that this is for any time you have, take off my headphones here. Anytime you have your feast of the first fruits. That's my assumption. This is for the feast of first fruits. It might even, you see, and when you gather its harvest, it might even be the feast of the first fruits and the feast of the ingathering. And until when you have that feast, until the day that you give the first fruits of God from either feast of the first fruits or feast of the ingathering, until you're brought in the offering, don't eat anything. Why? No, don't eat anything. Does God want you to starve? Of course not. Is he saying literally don't eat anything? Jesus let people eat food that they plucked, and they did some work on the Sabbath. But Jesus was like, hey, they were really hungry. He's like, go ahead and eat it. Look, God doesn't, Sabbath was made for man. Okay. Man wasn't made so they could keep the Sabbath. Sabbath was made to help out man. These feasts are not made. Hey, man was not made so he could keep the feast. I made some men because I have some feasts. God's like, I got these 3 feasts. What do I do with them? Oh, I'll make some humans to keep them. The feasts are to help the man. Okay. I mean, you're gathering in crops, you're bringing them into you. So what do? You bring them in. The first fruits go to God. So first, because you love God so much, you give him the first fruits. It kind of been like on that the day with the disciples. Jesus is like, the disciples grabbed some wheat on the Sabbath day, they rubbed it in their hands, and then they ate it. It's like doing work on the Sabbath, right? They should have been prepared. It's kind of as if they would have done that and went, wait, Jesus, we know you're God. Did they? Some of them, I think that episode happened before they got a clue. But let's say they, Jesus, here you go, and they gave it to some to him first. Then they ate some. I don't think it's. I mean, literally, don't eat it. Yeah. Don't. You don't gather a bunch. You go, okay, guys, let's go on and have dinner. You have dinner and stuff, and then okay, the next day we'll bring our first fruits to God. No. First fruits to God right then. It's a festival. You have a festival. They're going to set a specific day to have a festival. They're going to go out and get the stuff. They're going to bring it in. Then they're going to pig out. No. They're going to bring it in, offer it to God. Thank you, God. We love you, Lord. Then pig out. then you get to eat some. Yeah. That's my assumption. I mean, that's what a festival is. Um, we were talking about what is it? Feast of unleavened bread. Okay, the feast of the first fruits, the feast of the harvest of the first fruits, the feast of the ingathering at the end of the year. All right, both of those feasts, the feast of the harvest of the first fruits, the feast of the ingathering at the end of the year. So I'm gonna here you go. Feast of the harvest of the first fruits, feast of the harvest at the end of the year. This. Okay. That's good enough. Feast of the harvest of the first fruits, feast of the ingathering at the end of the year. Both of those, you bring in your first fruits to God. The first of the grain or the barley or whatever you're growing, the first of your vegetable, your produce, your wheat, the food that you're growing in the field, the first of it goes to God. Goes to God. Why is one called? If in both of them you take the first fruits, you take the first thing you gather and you give it to God. If in the feast of the ingathering and the feast of the harvest of the first fruits, if in both of them you give your first fruits to God, why is one called feast of the first fruits and one feast of the ingathering? You give it should say the first of the ingathering of the first fruits, feast of the harvest of the reason why, like I said, wintertime, everything's dead. You're not harvesting, you're not working the field, you're just chilling. I mean, maybe they did. I don't think so though. But when spring comes, here it comes. And they have the feast of the harvest, the beginning of the year. Yes, the beginning of the harvest year, not the very beginning of the year. The beginning of the harvest year, the beginning of the harvest. You're harvesting. So that is the first fruits for you. You didn't have any fruits over the wintertime. You were eating stuff out of your pantry and jars. You got your pottery, and you got your wheat and your stuff that you collected from last year in the jars. You're hoping bugs and stuff don't get to it. If it gets dirty, oh well, that's what you have. You eat it. Then spring, feast of the harvest of the first fruits. That's the first fruits of the harvest. All summer you harvest. Then you gather in at the very end before winter, in gathering. In gathering. So the feast of the first fruits of the entire harvest, then the ingathering of the harvest at the end. And in both of those, the first stuff that you get, the first fruits, you bring to God. Kind of confusing still. Why do they call? I'm still confused why they call it first fruits. I guess wheat is a fruit. Hey guys, I've been going on for a little while. I was going to talk about gleanings, and then I was like, I changed my mind. Start talking about this. Okay, we'll see y'all on the next very basic Bible topic.